Ajmal, good to see you. Thank you for your time today. What do you think of what is going on in the parliament of this country with their handling of this situation?
Thank you very much, James, and I hope you guys are doing well. What's going on in the thank you. That's good. What's going on in the parliament is an absolute shambles. They're in disarray, completely disunited. A parliament that is actually arguing about whether there should be a ceasefire. Surely there should be a ceasefire.
Everybody agrees.
Well, being pressured by other people, but only on certain conditions, like if the hostages are released and Hamas surrender,
wait for a second. Do we want more people to be killed? No. Do we want more Jewish people to be killed? No. Do we want more Palestinians to be killed? No. Do we want more of those children to be killed? No. The only way we can achieve that is by calling for a ceasefire now.
By Hamas surrendering and releasing the hostages.
So if we
call everybody, my friend,
exactly,
but that's got to happen first.
The problem we have.
Hamas don't want anything. What you said there, though.
We can't have this.
They're the protagonists.
Otherwise, it would just make a hole. But
Hamas don't want this, do they? And they're the one side of it, aren't they?
Can we stop it now? Ajmal, I do apologise about my funny friend. I want to ask you a couple of questions. The ceasefire has to be equal on all sides. Do you believe that Hamas will put down their weapons if a ceasefire is called?
You know, my problem is it's not equal when it comes to this conversation, ever. Because one is a country and the other is a terrorist group as far as this country is concerned.
Well, they are, aren't they?
So our country has prescribed them very clearly. Other countries may not have. So that's why I'm saying it's in our country. But
yeah, but you can't ask a country to have a ceasefire if only one side obeys the ceasefire.
It can't happen. That's the problem. And Israel is a state. And Israel has the military might, the control of air, sea, and land. It has occupied Palestinian land for 75 years. But as long as Israel continues occupation, building illegal settlements, and have right-wing extremist governments like Netanyahu's, there will be no ceasefire, I'm afraid, and there will be no peace. I want to see all of this to end immediately.
Good. So do I.
And everyone to sit down and see peace.
Let's have Ash have his minute say now.
Hamas can't be allowed to exist, the people that did that atrocity on the 7th, and people can't actually live parts of Israel until they're eradicated. And they've also said they're going to repeat these atrocities. They want to keep it doing again and again. So Hamas don't want a ceasefire. You know, they're nihilists, really. Medieval, they'll just keep going, and Israel have to wipe them out, basically. They're using citizens as shields. I mean, the innocent people killed, even if you use the Hamas figures, it's proportionately lower than any other modern army can achieve. They don't understand how Israel has achieved so... And also, some are being killed by Hamas there. I mean, they're a ruthless organisation that will kill their own people. No, a lot of misfiring rockets. So how can Israel have a ceasefire without those conditions?
James, I'm sorry to say this, but I don't know which book, which sources Ash is referring to.
What's wrong? What's wrong in that?
Will you be quiet for a minute?
What's wrong in that?
I am going to ask the questions to both of you. But
hang on.
You said something was wrong that I've said. I mean, what?
Can you stop this, both of you? Because I want to know what he has said that you think is wrong.
So, for example, 36,000 people killed in 138 days of bombardment. 60 to 70% of them are children and women, are not in any way, shape or form proportionate, number one. Number two...
No, number one, we can't be sure of that, Ajmal, because nobody is able to count that number of bodies.
Even if they are Hamas figures. Well, let me just clarify, they're Hamas figures, and even if that is correct, it's a low proportion. We killed 5 to 1 in Iraq.
Do you know, both of you, going on about figures is a ridiculous waste of time.
Well, that's proportionality.
Ash, if you allow your guest to speak, you may get a bit of respect. You've invited me to speak. Listen to me for a second before you speak over me, please.
Ajmal, will you respond, please?
I will. If Ash doesn't interrupt, I can respond.
He isn't going to interrupt.
So I am saying something very simple. Ash is calling for a genocide of the Palestinian people.
I'm not.
That's unethical.
That's unacceptable. That is ridiculous. He did not say that.
That's defamatory.
Israel should wipe them out.
You just libeled
He said they should probably wipe out Hamas, who are terrorists.
No, he didn't say that. He said they should wipe them out. He used the word them. Yeah. Who is he referring to?
Hamas.
Hamas are the people who are causing the problem.
In 138 days, we have seen 70% men and women have been killed by Israelis, as well as no hostages have been released by this bombardment. So Israel's own military campaign has been a failure.
They rescued a couple the other day.
It's nothing but abysmal. Look, if you want to talk about
what would you suggest? Hang on, I'm going to talk. What would you suggest would actually solve this problem? Because if you honestly think somebody walked into a town in this country and eradicated everybody lived there, men, women, children,
8,000 people would be the equivalent.
If you actually think we would not rest until we had wiped out the terrorist organisation who'd done that to us,
like
nor
ISIS.
would any other country. Yeah. I don't understand how you think Israel are going to put their arms down. They're being, or trying to be,
But what do you say
careful.
to the Palestinians? What do you say to the Palestinians who have been occupied for 75 years?
So it was a legitimate operation. You say that the rapes, and that was a legitimate operation.
Illegal. Occupation of a people's
land. But attack the
one
army.
at a time. One at a time.
And most importantly, they've been building illegal settlements over Palestinian territory.
Okay, but attack the military. Don't rape women. Don't cut, babe. Just attack military. Just have a fight like that.
There has been reports after reports of Israeli army committing the worst and the most heinous crime.
Oh, you're going down the denial route. The atrocity denial route.
Hang on. So
what you're denying the truth. The truth here is Palestinians have been occupied for 75 years.
Leave it a
That's a
minute.
fact.
Right, Ajmal.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that Israel has a right to exist?
Of course. So do the Palestinians.
Well, it's not.
Netanyahu does not believe.
It's not what Hamas believe.
Netanyahu does not believe that Palestinians have a right to exist. So do his ministers in his cabinet. I do know that because he said it in public. He has said it in public on television interview. His foreign minister, his security minister has said they should nuke the Palestinians. They don't believe in the existence of Palestinians.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. If you were to put a nuclear weapon, if you would put a nuclear weapon in Gaza or the West Bank, it would affect Israel.
They wouldn't even need to
around.
use them. They could use conventional weapons.
So the moron
I agree.
Just one moron.
Who's supposed to be the Secretary of State for Defense in Israel said, let's nuke them. That's what he said.
Yeah. Well, it's a ridiculous thing for anybody.
What would you have done after the atrocities? Or what do you think happened on October the 7th?
I would say something very simple. I would say end the occupation, allow the Palestinians to have their own state, and start
like they did in 2005 when they left Gaza.
But they didn't. That's a
lock,
lie.
stock, and barrel.
Oslo Accord is a lie. That's not true.
It's not. They left lock, stock. They took every Jew out of it. Talk of apartheid. They took every Jew out of Gaza.
But the Oslo Accord was just a starting point for a negotiation. It was not a settlement.
But it didn't work, did it? Because they just built tunnels and missiles.
I'm going to say something to you very simple. For me, I'm not Palestinian in my ethnicity. I originally am ethnically Bangladeshi. I'm British. I live here. I want to see peace in the world, in every part of the world. I don't care whether you're Jewish, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian. I don't care. I care that you're a human being.
Me too.
Any life lost, any lives lost, there's too many lives lost as far as I'm concerned. Israel has the superpower, has the supreme power over the Palestinian people, and they have killed more than 36,000 people.
But why don't you listen to your Gazan brothers who are actually calling for Israel to remove Hamas because they're ruining their lives? There's loads and loads of videos.
Do you know already there is a deal that is on the table, in the table of Netanyahu right now, that's been broken by Egypt, that's been broken by Qatar, that's been broken by Jordan and other countries, and Netanyahu is saying he's not interested. Even Biden has said...
Well, what's the peace deal? Of course he won't be if it's not releasing the hostages.
I've had enough of this. It's annoying me. I've got to ask a couple of questions.
We want to see peace, right?
If we want to see peace, right?
Yes.
Which we do. And if Israel, because I don't think Israel wants to have this next door to it, nor would any country. And nobody wants to kill... Nobody... Well, no, they're not.
It used to be an open border. Israelis would travel to Gaza. It was all nice and free.
Do you mind?
Well, I'm just...
Or I won't have you on the show again. It's dead simple. Yeah. If and I'm quite frigging annoyed with you lot, Muslims and Jews
have a civilized discussion with
Well, you see, this is how it works, isn't it?
But look,
Ash needs to zip up. Allow James to talk.
The fact is,
you need to zip up.
Will you? Or I'll ask you to leave now on air.
Well,
and you'll do it.
Well,
you will.
I'll go. It's Saturday night.
What I need to know is this: the terrorist organisation Hamas, who started it by committing genocide and killing innocent people. You can't just ignore that. You have to go after people who do that. So if you want a ceasefire, not to mention the hostages, over 100 hostages, so you have to say to them, we want the hostages back. We want you to lay down your weapons. If you do that, we will cease as well. I don't think for 1 minute Hamas will be prepared to do it. I think one side will put down their weapons and the rockets would continue to come in.
But okay, James, can I respond to that, if you don't mind? So if we want to address the hostages, if we want to address the violence, if we want to address the genocide, let's take one at a time. There are more than 7,000 Palestinians in Israeli prison right now, not tried, not even charged. They're just languishing in prison. They're hostages.
It's called remand, isn't it? Like we have in this country.
Not.
That's called remand.
Ash, I did say to James, let me answer his question. Yeah. Secondly, if we want peace, at this moment in time, Israel has all the military power in the world, and Hamas and anybody else are shooting missiles. Disproportionate it is, but both sides should stop the fighting immediately. The third thing, the only way we can exist is by coexistence. You can't wipe off everybody from the face of this earth. We had to deal with IRA eventually, and we had to settle with IRA and negotiate peace with them.
And who would you negotiate with? Because Hamas, a terrorist organization who are quite prepared...
You keep on saying that.
Who would you
IRA was a terrorist organization.
They are.
Nelson Mandela was a terrorist before he was freed from the prison.
Exactly.
These terrorist labels are very convenient.
I don't remember Mandela going into a town and obliterating everybody. That was the start of these troubles. And
Let me ask you a question, James. Let me ask you a question. There is no Hamas in West Bank.
Yes, there is.
We're not talking about West Bank. We're talking about Gaza.
Yes, there is. Of course there is.
No, I know, but I'm giving you an example. Israel is killing on a daily basis hundreds of Palestinians in West Bank, demolishing homes, confiscating properties, burning down
killing hundreds of people on a daily basis in the West Bank. There are not hundreds of people every day.
Look at the facts and come out of your ostrich-like attitude.
A lot of people now in Israel agree with what you're saying there, that the settlers who have taken land from the West Bank has to be stopped.
The terror that we're witnessing is happening from both sides. I want to finish now.
There's no rapes going on or beheadings or anything like that.
We want to see an end to this awful plight of the Palestinians. We want to see people of all backgrounds, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, living together in peace and harmony. The only way this can happen is when Israel ends occupation of the Palestinian land.
But Hamas has said they will repeat it again and again and again.
Israel listens to international law. And when Israel accepts that it is a genocide that they've committed.
Hamas don't have to do anything.
Between the two of you driving me mad.
Gentlemen, I'm going to run away because I've got another meeting starting now.
What? Why are you so aggressive?
You're in denial.
No, go away. I don't want to talk to him anymore.
Because he couldn't say he lost the argument.
The fact is, I know. But you can't keep shouting like that.
Well, he keeps talking crap. I have to correct him.
You can't hear.
He was denying stuff that obviously happened.
Why? Why do people get so angry
because you get
about
they can't. And he couldn't answer or defend himself against such accusations, could he?
They just seem to want to be violent.
Yeah.
Now, I've had Ajmal Masroor on the show many, many times.
Yeah, but he showed his true colours.
I've never, ever seen him that angry and annoyed.
Well.